Welcome to the channel and this new series where we will be taking a look at the new Sunset Harbor DLC for Cities Skylines. This DLC was released on the 26th of March 2020 if you're watching this in the future, and the core of it is a new industry, i.e. fishing, which introduces quite an interesting mechanic which I want to take a look at in some depth. Now, that's not the only part of the DLC. The DLC also introduces a series of inter-transport connections, which could be quite interesting to explore in the overall relation of the game. But there's also a new change which comes as part of the free DLC, which is the introduction of childcare and elderly care, which will have an impact on the way the city grows, especially when it gets larger. Because what the childcare does is create more berths, so then the city should grow faster without having to bring in new residents. That's got implications for how the education system works, and the elderly care one extends lifetime. Now, I've got an idea that that might actually help to offset some of the death waves that happen when the city grows very rapidly. But so we're certainly going to be taking a look at that. And of course, this is going to be a new game, so we're going to be playing on a new map. And now the DLC does introduce 5 new maps. You can see they're all designated by this SH indicator here. We've got Azure Gulf, which is very much a traditional City Skylines map with a nice coastline. But Crater Falls is quite an interesting map, but it's not really the type of map I want to look at in this series because the fishing is going to be a bit difficult. And that also applies to the Oasis map. It looks really interesting, but at the same time, it's only got the single little lake in the middle, so we're not going to do much fishing in that. And then we've got Swamplands, which is very similar to the map of the series I did the last time. So I don't really want to do that map. So what we're going to be doing is Fisher Enclave, simply because it seems to be a very orientated towards fishing, and that's the objective of this series. I think we're going to stay with right-hand traffic because I've been playing a lot of Transport Fever 2. And therefore I've got that mindset going. So moving on, we'll stay with right-hand traffic. I think resources, pretty good spread of resources. Outside connections, we don't have a rail connection. I think I can live with that because we can still use local trains. It's just we won't have an external connection. And of course, part of the new DLC is the new intercity bus line. So maybe we'll be trying to bring residents in using buses rather than trains. So in some ways, this could be a good way to see how not having trains will affect the growth of the map, because we will still have water connections and air connections to develop. The suitable building area is only 45%, so we're not going to build an epic city in this series with this restricted area. Also, the 81 tile mod is not working, so that's it's not relevant to this series. And the base theme is European. I must admit, I do really like the European base theme. So we might as well just jump straight in and get started. So here we are on the map, and this is normally the point where I would say the first thing you want to do is pause the game, but the map actually starts paused, which I think is a good feature because you've only got 70,000 to spend with this. Therefore, we need to be a bit tight on the cash. We might as well have a good look round. I haven't really looked in detail at this map, because I literally chose it based on the name and the amount of water, and probably the best way to give you an oversight is if we come round this way. And this is a good way to get a view of a map that you've not really seen before. Come in and go to the tile purchase option. This gives you a bit of an overview. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 road connections coming in, which would be good. But there is a potential risk here, and this is something you need to think about when you are planning your city, because it would be very tempted to run a highway from this initial connection down across this narrow straight here and connect up down here once we've bought these outer tiles. But the trouble is, if you connect a highway through the center of your city, what will happen is all the inter kind of city type traffic that will come in on this lower road connection will come up through your city and out the top one. So effectively you create a rat run. So what we're probably looking at is building separate communities, probably one here, maybe on this island, and then another community here. And what we'll probably have is a ferry connection across to stop the trucks rushing through. I want to keep the trucks on these highways. Looks like the ship connection is up that side. So we're going to have to expand up in this direction to get to the ship connections. Well, that's looking pretty good. I'm quite happy with that. Now, I suppose what we better do is the first quirk of Cities Skylines is we're just going to have to build a tiny little bit of road and then delete it. This is what, and then what that does is it actually unlocks power and water. So let's have a quick look at the power situation. So we got some wind power there. Got wind power on an island off here. That could be quite useful. In fact, we got wind power up in this corner here and a little bit there. So we could, don't really want to put the power down in this edge of the map. I think we can use this high ground here to start with. I mean, it's far enough away from the main building area so we can avoid the noise. And in fact, I'm a bit attracted to this island. And we certainly got the wind generation once we got access to advanced wind turbines. Yeah, I think I think I'd like to use this little hill out here for the moment. I think we're getting a couple of wind turbines there laid in. And now let's have a look at the water. Ah, that could be interesting. We've got no current movement here. So that means that if I put in an outfall, we could very quickly have a pollution problem. But one advantage with that is we should be able to take advantage of these new inland water treatment plants which have been introduced. I think there's an eco version as well. There it is. That's 60,000 a week. What's that? That's 120,000. That's wow. That's got a lot of throughput. It's going to cost 320 a week to upkeep. I think we may have to. Now these are pretty polluting. We're going to put road connection as well. What's the intake for water? Can't remember now. So our water pumping is 120. This is 120. I think to start with, we're going to keep these in sync, and I can't put that out. And I think to start with, just to keep the power system working, we'll put this next to the wind turbines. That's that sorted out. Now the next step is how we're going to lay our city out. We've got farming here, and I suppose eventually once we get the city growing, I'll probably turn this into an farming industry area. So maybe we need to get our initial industry coming this way. We've got this bit of land here for residential. What we got here, a rock by the look of it. All those underground tunnels underground. Ah, great. That was expensive. That was a lot, pretty expensive, just to remove a rock. And we still got a mound there, so which could be a potential problem. Oh well, never mind. It's done. It's done. Could I turn that into a feature? Anyway, let's just get down to the business. Now, if any of you have watched my previous series, I think you probably know how I'm going to start this city. I really like my initial connecting roundabout. So come here, and I think we're going to start this a bit, maybe a little bit too far close. We'll start with 180 roundabout. I don't want this to be too big because we don't have a lot of space to build with. And we come here, and we're going to go. Whoops. I'm a little bit rusty with my City Skylines, so apologies for that. Been playing a lot of Transport Fever recently, and therefore I'll probably end up trying to use Transport Fever. Okay, go this way. Then we can tidy this up at a later date. And reverse that. We've now got our main connection to the highway installed, and we're just gonna come here and let's go straight. And we can just come in like that. About 3.5 in. Oops. And you can come there. You can come there, reverse. And then we'll just take out this road here. Get a tiny little bit of a refund. And just a queue there. Queue there. Push up like that. And what I'm going to do is run here. Now, the way I like to lay it out is that if I come in like this, but I don't touch the one-way road, it will mean that I don't have a problem with people building on the one-way road system, which keeps things moving along quite smoothly. Oh, when the game does that, we'll just have to push you up a little bit like that. I mean, we're going to expand that way anyway. We'll just connect you up there. I'm just going to push you out like that. And the game's just going to stop messing about, game. Just going to like that. And just going to get our initial residential area in here. See if you see it. The zoning is 4x4, so by doing that we can get this connection up here. And I'm just going to get that little bit of a connection in there. Whoops. Camera's a bit itchy, temperamental. What are we doing here? We're down to 42,000, and I think I can afford to lay in this road here. Can't come out. Could come out. Don't really like that. I think we're just have to bend it a little bit this way like that, and just come back here. We'll come out. Actually, if I come out like that and hook you up like that, you out under 38,000 now, so I think I need to focus a little bit on things. I'm still going to put in got the water, the power. We need to put in, if I put in a bit of a road up here. Got no idea whether the water treatment plant needs trucks, so I think we're putting that road up like that, and then come across like that. Then we'll just push you up a little bit like that, and then we'll put the water treatment plant right up there, and then it's going to go up like that, and then we'll run you like that. That should get things up and running, and what we're going to do is just start really moving forward slowly. There's no power in here at the moment, so what we're going to have to do is run this up here like that, and run you across to there, and then on the power lines just into there. Oops. That just gets everything growing quite nicely. And hopefully everyone's going to start moving in. And right, we've now got access to the economy. What I'm going to do is knock the water income demand down, because perhaps, I suppose it goes without saying that the first people to move in are the ones who are just going to open up that. So we got a little bit of growth going. We got a little bit of commercial coming up, which is a little bit odd. Normally it's the industry that comes up first, but yeah, there's a little bit of industry coming up. So we'll start by zoning in the industry up here, right next to the power lines, because then that means that this can grow out this way. We've still got 14,000. And city's growing quite nicely. Can put a little bit more out this way. Zone in a little bit more there. Just check the water coverage. Like that. Yeah, we've got a little bit of industry coming in. We've got demand for commercial. Now, I could be a bit sneaky and put the commercial over here, but I think I want to come south. The problem is going to be this crazy rock here. So I think what we're going to have to do in the short term is just go with a single road here. It also saves us a tiny amount of money. And we'll just put that there. And we'll run the can you just come in like that? And then what we'll do is we'll just drop a little bit of commercial in here, like this, around there. So we're gonna have to bring in the water. The magic number I'm looking for is 440, and that will come across like that. So we've got our little commercial area here, our industrial area here, which is growing. So we're just gonna shove you in here, that, and I think we can put a connection down to there, take you across there, up there. So we're still losing a little bit of cash, but we're up to a population of 262. No power here. Jump you over there to there. Just make a building historical. Well, I'm afraid we're not been around long enough for this to be historical. Again, I'm just going to have to come down 40 across like this. So we're laying out the start of our grid. Okay. Let's come in here. Power. Yeah, we're great for power at the moment. So, and we are now making a profit, and we've now reached our first milestone. So we've got landfill, elementary school, medical clinic, recycling. We can get loans, and the first things that we need to get in here straight away is some garbage collection. We'll probably put the garbage collection out here. Actually, if I come off like this. Now there are new waste facilities in the DLC, but I'm not sure what we got here. Recycling center. I'm not sure that's gonna. Now, what's that? Processing 24,000 a week. Small amount of raw materials. Okay, let's just give the recycling plant a go. If not, we can always put in a waste dump. And of course, more importantly now, I need to get some education up and running. Education is very important in this game. Very tempted just to take a loan to get the education up and running, to be honest. Okay, let's just speed things up a little bit. How much do we want for education? 10,000. Yeah, let's see. Let's have about 20,000. And actually, what we'll do is we'll push the taxes to 11%. That might actually help us. That'll give us more income. I think what we're going to do is let the game run. More demand for residential. Yep. We'll just keep putting in this residential here. And that will increase our revenue stream. And I've got to push that through before anyone moves in. Or they're just going to get very upset. You can come there. A little bit of a smidge there. Just going to build up, and we can afford a school. So education is very important. If you've got an educated workforce, they make more money. You can see here we've got demand for residents here. But we do need to get more residents in. I mean, I could. I think we'll go for the loan. We're just going to sneak that loan in, and we're just going to get. We'll just put. I put this. I'd rather have the coverage here, so we're going to lose a house, but that will. And we've still got a little bit more demand for residential, so we'll come south like this. And hook you up like that. Just come you down like that. And we'll bring the residential over here. And what we should be able to do now is, as those people move in, we will. And of course, we're going to cover that with water. See how we're doing for kids. Got 96 students already. That's good. There's a little bit more demand for industry. I think we can just shoot that along the bottom here. Just fill in this corner here. And we got our little eco garbage trucks out and about doing things. Now we're going to have to keep an eye on this side here. Healthcare. I don't think we really need anything just yet. So everybody's moving in. How far are we off from the next milestone? Yes, it's here. Self-sufficiency, fire station, police station. Another few more residents, and as the power, yep, the power's jumped across here quite nicely. I think what we're going to do is I want to put a short length of road out here, and I'm just going to zone in. Oops, and we've now reached a worthy village, and we can now open our first tile, but I'm not particularly interested in that at the moment. We've got emergency services, police department, self-sufficient buildings, organic local produce, and firehouse and police station. So what I want to do now is finish off what I was going to do. Put a little bit there, What we want is people to move in here, then I can bring the power lines down here. And the first emergency service I like to put in is actually a fire station, because that has an immediate effect on the population and the city. And we're going to come out this way residentially, so I think what we're going to do is we're going to come here and we come down here, 3 like that. And it's a little bit quirky, so we'll just come like this. We can afford to lose that center square there. And what I'm going to do is put a lodge of commercial down here like that. And again, we're going to need to make sure we got the water coverage. 440. That. So that should move in there. We'll leave a little bit of a barrier here so that we don't get the noise pollution. I don't think we've unlocked. You can see the noise pollution here. This is because this junction is busy. So we can afford to bring this down here, but I don't want it to intrude over too far. So we may have a power problem. Let's look here. Yep, so we're starting to get a power shortage, so I'll drop a couple more of these in. The only downside of wind turbines is the fact that you go through the power so pretty quickly. Power usage, smoke detectors. Yes, nothing there just yet. How's the population demand? Can we paint a district? I think what we're going to do is we're going to paint in a district here. Like this. And what we got in the way, and I just want to paint in this area here as well, like that. And what we got here, it'll disrupt the city, but I think we'll be okay. We got here, got self-sufficient buildings, so we can put self-sufficient buildings in here. Now the downside of doing what I've just done is the fact that what's going to happen is all these buildings are going to disappear and then reappear, which is one of the quirks of the game, but I think we can afford it. It's worth doing it now rather than waiting. So, and what we'll do is we'll grow this area here, and then what we'll do then is push it up into that area there as well. So, we got water coverage. Push you out that way, and push you out this way a little bit. We've got this area growing up quite nicely. Hickory Park will come back. Oops, and the game, of course, the game's running slow again. So we've got that area there. I mean, I don't want this to become a massive community, so we'll probably won't expand this too much. There we go. What's actually happened here is the power is broken off from because this area here, so we just put that little power line in to help. And what we do now is just bring that power line in there, and what we can do is take out that, and then we can push you up like that and bring you through there. Why aren't you connecting? Now the reason I've changed this area to what's it called? This organic and local produce. What it does is it reduces traffic, it increases electricity kind of thing, but it also reduces garbage. So what actually happens is it takes the pressure off the economy. So if you can get this up and running relatively early, it means that you don't get so much demand for industry, although we've got demand for industry coming through now. So So we've got a little bit of industry demand coming through. So what I do is expand the industry out this way, and we're going to put a little streak of industry along here. I don't want it to get too big because I'd rather expand the industry out this way. So what we can do is come this way and put a road connection in there, and push you out a little bit there, and put a little bit of industry here. Because of course one advantage is we've got water coming out this way. I think we'll just keep a little narrow band of industry here, and what that will do is connect up this area here. Can we get in a police department? Yep. Nope. Okay. So we're just gonna have to let things run and settle down a little bit now. Yeah, we got crime coming in as well, but I've already got one loan. I don't really want to do that. So we just want that to build up. Taxes. Well, maybe we can smidge the taxes up a little bit. 12%. That'll give me a little bit more income. Right, we can get a police station in now. Oh, we've now reached Tiny Town, which is, we've got a lot of new features: park areas, industry areas, landscaping. We've now got access to the fishing industry, football, smoking bans, and we've got a whole load of new buildings, mainly leisure. We've got freshwater outlet, biodome, yeah, and vertical farm, park maintenance. So we got a whole raft there, but more importantly, we've got a bit of a cache now. So what I can do is get in a. This is definitely a police station. I think we'll get the police station down here. That will give us really good coverage. That will deal with the crime issue that's come in. And what I wouldn't mind doing is paying off that loan as well, if we can afford it. Yeah, we're going to pay off the loan. I mean, it's going to break the bank, but it pays once you've got the money to pay off loans. You don't really want them hanging around. They can just be annoying. I'm just going to click through to there. And of course the game slowed down again. And I see a little bit of problems with water. Yeah, water's getting a little bit low, so what I'm going to need to do is come here to the budget. I'm just going to increase the water and sewage budget a little bit. What that should do is come here. Yeah, let's put the water back up again. Again, something that's very important to remember as you go forward. This demand is relative to the overall size of your city. So at the moment, this looks like there's a massive capacity here, but it's not. And then when you get to a city of 100,000, a tiny sliver here represents a lot of capacity. So it's something you need to bear in mind when you're actually growing the city. What we're going to do is just push this road. We come here. I think we can come out. How big is this area? Yep, it's still big. That's good. I'm just going to push you out to this edge here. And we keep the city growing, so we're just going to a whole bunch of people in there. Just going to leave this area pretty blank for the moment, and maybe we'll put in another line here. And I think what we'll do is, I'm not going to be sending any major roads over there. If we're bridging to here, we'll bridge off the top here. So we can just put this in there. And I'm just going to hook you up like that, you like that, and you up to about there. You can hook through to there, you can hook through to there, you can hook through to there. And again, what I'm going to do is, perhaps if I put pipelines in, but we're actually low on power now. Let's have another look. Yep. This is how, when the city grows really quickly, this is how you can go through power incredibly quickly. And I've got a bit of a problem now with respect to power, but we can fix that by take this up to 110% night and day. What that should do is take these up to, oh, it hasn't gone up to 8. Okay. No, that's gone up to 9. It just takes a little while. No, that one's only 8. It's gone up to 9, so we're okay for power at the moment. Yep. What I need to do now is to get the money rolling in. And we got a little bit of demand for commercial. Where can I put in a commercial? Because what I could do is come down like that. It's a bit lopsided, but then we can always build a British town where everything is not perfectly gridded. I think we can just get away with something like that, and that come down here like that. Yep, we're good for water. We can use that. And then what we can do is grow the commercial area out here. We've got to a population of 1,502. What's the next level up? 1,800. Recycling. So, and of course, more importantly, we've now got advanced wind turbines once we get to 1,800. Got cemeteries. Yep, I'm happy with that. And what we're going to do is just let the game run for the moment. And I think what I would like to do is get to 1,800 before the end of this part. So I'm just going to let the whole city. This is something you do need to do from time to time, is just give the city a chance to settle down and stabilize. What we can do is, we're now at a point where we can take these out. I think we're fully connected through here, so that can come out. And we need that power line just for the moment. So I think what we can do is just sneak in a little bit more residential up here, and a little bit on the top here, and maybe a little bit more down the back here. So what we're kind of doing is just filling in the gaps at the moment. There's a little bit here, so we can, and we'll give these people some waterside residencies. Actually, I think we'll just come down here. Just leave that area there. Okay, what we got here? What we could do is, if I've got a small park, that could be useful. And drop a couple of, and this is one of the reasons why I left this gap here. You can get a small park in here. What that will do is increase the land values, and we've got power problems again. I think we've got, hopefully that should, yep, it's just squeezed over the top of the power situation. So overall, the city's coming together really nicely. Everything's growing reasonably well. We've got our demands under control. We're making a fairly steady profit. The city's growing. Let's just have a look at a childcare centre. So we get the childcare centre once we reach 1,800. Don't need a hospital. I mean, to be honest, we don't really need a medical clinic. Elder care is 1,800 as well, and there we are. We've now reached Boomtown, and we can unlock another square. We've got transport ferries, we've got ore industry specialization, recycling, we've got road junctions, new road types, we've got ferry pathways, we've got water piping and heating, but that's really for if you're playing on a cold map. More importantly, we've now got advanced wind turbines. We've got a cemetery. and a boiler station, a post office, fish factory, power plant. Interestingly, I'm not. Oh, there's elder care, there's childcare. And I think just to wind this up, I need to put in one pretty important building straight away. If I can find it, we need to get a cemetery in. Cemeteries are quite important with respect to the health of your city. In fact, I think what I'm going to do is be a bit destructive here. And we're going to take away a little bit of the commercial set there. Like that. You can see the whole wave shoots across the city, but this is where I'm going to leave it. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Hope you found it interesting. In the next part, we will look at the new childcare, elder care mechanic. So I want to see how quickly that will get the city to grow. So we've got a little bit of a water problem there. Let's just do that. Also, I'm going to forget about it. Nope. Okay, I'm just going to start like that. But until next time, whatever you do, enjoy your gaming.